Hey guys. So I was trying to film tonight, but my other computer was giving me really bad issues. But I thought I might as well just do a health update. I've been debating on doing one or not because a lot of the things that I talked about in my past one, they've just kind of continued. But I feel like there are certain theories that I have that I need to talk about, I need to vocalize at this time. As you guys know, this series of videos, it really has to do with documenting my health journey, particularly my hypothyroid journey. That's basically the main focus because I'm not always losing weight. Like right now, I'm not. So it's important for me to categorize. And I just want you guys to know that a lot of times when I do these videos, they're more exploratory in nature and they're more me theorizing and figuring out what is happening as it happens. So, as this year is coming to a close, I have been thinking a lot about what is going on with me and what has happened with me. And the whole year, I have struggled in regards to what is going on with serotonin. I have known pretty much since the spring that something was going on in regards to serotonin in my brain. And I couldn't tell if it was going up or down or around. And I think it finally crystallized in my mind what is happening. So, over this entire year, I have really had my serotonin decreasing. And I think what tends to happen is that people in society, they are greatly indoctrinated into believing that low serotonin is an issue. That most people that are depressed have low serotonin. That most people who have anxiety or whatever, they need to be given an SSRI, for example. That's a very common thought process, especially in America. And I think what happens within obesity, and especially within hypothyroidism, as serotonin is a sort of antagonistic hormone to thyroid hormone. It's a part of this triad of hormones, which are estrogen, cortisol, and serotonin. When those three hormones are elevated, thyroid hormone is suppressed or not really, it's opposed. We'll put it to you that way. It's opposed by those hormones. So when somebody is extremely obese, as I am, there's probably going to be some level of a serotonin barrier to this weight loss. And what this can feel like is extreme mental health issues, depression, other aspects, digestive issues, migraines. And every single time I have tried to lose weight, which has been many times over the past, you know, 10, 11 years, it's been a long time. I've tried pretty much everything you could think of. And when I was thinking about this, I'm like, every single time I've lost weight, I've come across these strange mental health effects. I've come across these depressive issues, these feelings of emptiness, sort of dissociating feelings, a lot of these different things throughout different phases of trying to lose weight. And I always chalked it up to just plainly BED or other mental health issues. I considered if I had BPD. I never knew. I never got diagnosed with it or anything. For a lot of different reasons. I wondered though. But when I think about it, I don't think that that was the case anymore. when I think about, especially my mindset from about 5 years ago, which I used to write books. I don't write them anymore. I canceled it. I'm done. Um, it's just too, it's kind of too intimate. Like the stuff that I wrote, it was very, very derivative, like self derivative, and it's just too intimate to share at this point. So I don't have plans on doing it anymore. Um, but I read it and it was so sad. Like, there's one story I wrote where I was writing about, and this was set in 2018. It was really that time frame for me. And I was writing about how my health was getting worse. I was writing about twitches I had. So I had twitches in my eye, I had twitches in my shoulder right here, and a lot of these weird things. And in the year before this story took place, I had taken a psych medication, and I never really connected it until recently when I realized, hey, I took a pill in 2017 and I was not the same person after I took that pill. And I think what happened is it was one of my many steps towards my near death experience with hypo. I think I did pretty much everything you could possibly do wrong, which is why I almost died of this disease. Because when it comes to hypo, it's usually layers upon layers upon layers upon layers. And like, I did every single thing you could possibly do to destroy your thyroid, including taking a psych med that had anti-thyroid properties. I took something feeling depression and anxiety that was likely just a result of hypothyroidism. And I wish I would have known what to do about it, because it was more physically based. Where I get frustrated with people these days is everything is considered emotional or spiritual. And I keep thinking about the past. I think about like when I was in high school and I was so exhausted all the time. And I used to question, like, how do my friends have jobs? Or how do my friends do so many things? Like, I don't have any energy. I'm exhausted. And I gained 50 pounds in my senior year of high school. And I did have BED at the time. But the absolute exhaustion, and I got sent to, my school had like a therapy type of thing, and I went to therapy. I talked to them about it, and they told me that I wasn't listening enough to my body, and I wasn't like expressing how I felt enough, which it's like I had fucking hypothyroidism. I went to a dietitian before. They told me to eat whole grains and low fat. It's not prothyroid at all. It didn't help. I was starving. I was let down by pretty much every single institution that could let a person down. And I almost died, which that obviously completely hit a fever pitch around 2020 for obvious reasons. The measures were so caustic to my health as a physical person. Being isolated for 11 months was so horrible for my health. And I had already done keto for a couple years before that. I was doing extended fasting in 2019. I would go days without eating. I was constantly trying different diets, from 2018 and 17. It's like I took this pill, and it's like I did so many things wrong. And by the time we got to the measures in 2020, it almost killed me because it created so much stress on me. that I was like, I had nothing left. My body was already so weak going into it that I had nothing left to give. It had no more resilience towards any stress. I couldn't handle it anymore. And the stress of that isolation, I wish people could understand how it feels to be isolated that long. And I worked from home. I talked to people, but it's really different when you're never around somebody. If you can think about never sitting in the same room as somebody else and just spending time together. You know, the only interaction I got from people was when I would go to the grocery store. And everybody was wearing masks, and it just was not personal at all. It was not the same thing. But if you can imagine, like, never being touched, never getting a hug, never having any kind of interaction like that for months and months and months at a time, the feeling of it was as if I was holding my breath. I could handle it up for about 4 months. Thank God I had a break. I visited Alabama. I lived in Texas at the time. I moved to Alabama, or I visited Alabama briefly in the summer of 2020. And that really helped decompress. But then I went back, and after about 4 months, when I got towards November, I was so unwell. It's hard to explain because I don't know if somebody can understand what that's like if you've never been isolated that long. But it broke my body, it broke my mind, it broke everything about me. And so, getting past that, getting into 2021, I changed everything. I did the exact opposite of everything I was doing. I completely changed my whole lifestyle. I moved in with my mom. I started living outdoors all the time because I worked outside a lot. I started working in the public every day, so having to interact with people in the public. I completely changed my entire diet and lifestyle. As you guys know, I started the ProThyroid protocol, and I realized that it's in December of 2023, I'm getting these same twitches that I used to in 2018 in my shoulder, in my eyes. And I'm realizing it is that same serotonin. And I think about like how my mindset was during the time that I would consider myself in the Hypo Haze, which is from 2018 to 2022. My mindset was so, I can't really describe it, but I'm trying hard. It's hard. It's like I was so singular-minded and so small-minded. I don't know how else to say it, but it's like I viewed everything in such a minuscule way, where everything in life, it's like everything is stuffy. It's like you never open a window. You never have fresh air come in. You're always hyper-focused on this tiny, tiny little picture. And you're just thinking about this all the time. And like how I was in my relationship, where I was always like, worried about if he was talking to me or not, or if this was happening or not, or or what he was doing, or what was going on, or any of these things. Like, and it wasn't just about him, it was about everyone. Everything was like, is this person coming after me? Is this person out to get me? Is this person this? Is this person that? Like, you're always thinking about that all the time, constantly. And over the time I've done the protocol, those thoughts have become more and more distant. And last year, it was very distant. Like, I barely even cared. I didn't really give a shit at all last year. I'm just going to be honest. I really didn't care at all about what anybody thought at all. And it was this weird moment in time where I had this confidence, but I also still had the very toxic, kind of small minded view of everything. But I wasn't worried about what other people were doing anymore. It was really weird. And then this year, the whole year has felt like an exorcism. It has felt like I have been having my serotonin go down every month the whole year. And I think I just realized that. Like, it's always been going down, it has never been going up. And I've had physical sensations in regard to it, I've had mental health effects from it. I've had identity issues. Like I told you guys, I really felt empty. And I felt that way at other times in my life when I had tried to lose weight. And it was such a barrier for me. And I felt so fearful. And it's going away. And I'm finding this re-emergence of like my own essence is coming up because the serotonin has come down enough where I'm myself again. I think in October, I felt like there was nothing there. Throughout November, I worked on it. In October, I worked on it. And I think after a couple months, my true core has risen up. And I see exactly who I am without my illness. And it's this person I used to be like in high school. And it's just it's a very surreal feeling. But it's like I started listening to a lot of music from when I was in high school. And I started to feel like the person I was then, where like I could go to a concert and cry over it because it meant so much to me. And it's like my feelings are so much stronger now, and things matter to me, and things feel bigger. It's like not such a small-minded mindset. It's like much more expansive. And to have that ability at this time of the year, to be able to continue to work okay so far with only minimal migraines. I still got them. I have a little bit of one today. But having that go on, it has been such an amazing blessing. And I've had to take a lot of L's this year. A lot of L's. I had to take an L with my breakup. I had to take an L with my car accident. I had to take an L in regards to the mindset I used to have. You know, I think about my past relationship and you know, most of my dynamics with men. and how I was always trying to control them. And in this December, I was just like, I gotta take an L. Like, that is the dumbest thing in the world. Like, what a stupid fucking idea that you thought you could control somebody else. You thought you could control a man, and you tried. And I think about it, and I'm just like, I was so fucking dumb to even think. And it's like, how did I ever even think that was possible? And I blame the haze. I do. I blame it. And I see things with such clarity today. And I just think, why the hell would I ever even try to control a guy? Like, if I have to do all that to get him to be with me, then it doesn't matter. It's like, it's not real. And if I don't, then it is real, And I just couldn't, it's like I couldn't see that. And it's the same thing with now, like, as far as the identity crisis and all that stuff, like, if who I was, if the aggressive, fighting, domineering person that I was, if that could only be me through extreme illness and super morbid obesity and everything in a very, very high level of hypothyroidism, if that was everything it took for me to be that person, that probably isn't who I actually am. And so I'm so thankful and grateful that I have the ability to let go, to forgive the past, to let go of these conceptions that I had, and to let go of the belief that I could control somebody that I'm dating. I can't. And all these different L's. But within all the L's, there's a huge W. And that W is basically, I'm alive. I have recovered so much. It took me probably around 10 or 11 years to get to the point of almost dying of hypothyroidism, to now being back to where I basically started with it in high school in less than 3, because I was so strict. I did exactly what I needed to do. I avoided everything very strictly. And I accomplished an average or moderate level of hypo in less than 3 years. And it's just like, I'm not dying anymore. Some of my physical health issues, they're starting to resolve. Things that I've wondered if they'd ever go away are starting to go away. And I think I keep wanting to test my body, or I keep waiting for it to drop. I keep waiting for something to happen because I don't trust my body right now. I don't. I feel like, well, I'm sure it'll get worse again. That's how I feel. But I don't think it is, because my depression is becoming sentimentality and romantic thinking, which is not the same thing. It's different. It's like I'm feeling this zest for life again. I haven't felt in such a long time. I'm feeling this euphoria at the thought of possibilities. I'm feeling this hope of a beautiful relationship in my future. And I'm feeling like things can change financially and otherwise because I can do stuff that I couldn't before. So I'm really trying to be grateful for the W's. This W has been coming all year. And I'm surprised. I'm surprised. So we'll see. That's kind of what I've been thinking about. It's just the resurgence or the re-emergence of essence of who I am. It has come back. And so I want you guys to know that if that ever happens to you, it will come back and you're going to be okay. And going forward, I don't think I'm going to have this serotonin barrier next year. I think it's kind of ending in December. And that opens up a lot of possibilities for next year. So I hope this made sense. If it didn't, that's okay. It's something that I'll be able to figure out later. But thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked it, I'll talk to you later. Bye.